This is my first time. This is my second time to make a presentation at the National Assembly. First, thank you, Professor Lee Kyung-jeon, for inviting me and many others who are hosting this event. Thank you, first of all. And while listening to the congratulatory messages, the one person said that the detection rate of the fraud is pretty low, but I did like to say that the detection rate itself is not low. I will get back to that point a little later. And I am working for the financial institution, so I would like to show you how the money laundering is occurring within the financial institution systems and what is the money laundering. And when there is any suspicious transaction occurred, which seems like money laundering, then what kind of data set can be mobilized and utilized? That's the topic that I'd like to share this morning. First of all, these are how the money laundering occurred within the financial institutions. You understand how the money laundering occurred within the financial institutions because there are many articles about it. So let me just briefly explain how the money laundering occurred. To have money laundering, then so there should be the crimes going outside of the financial institutions. First of all, let's say I have the financial scheme worth of 5 million Korean won. And that scheme is considered as a criminals, and that 5 million won is criminal proceeds. And then that the criminal proceeds of 5 million can be deposited or used to buy the insurances. So that the proceeds will be used for using the financial services and products. So throughout that kind of circulation, the actual 5 million Korean won will be transferred into the financial deliverables, which seems a legitimate financial product. And throughout the process, I can argue these are the money that I legibly worked for and earned. That's the definition of money laundering. Then, well, we talk about proliferation and organized crimes and the terrorist attack. These are the one fact that we have to consider. However, there are something we have to consider. Around 2020, there were some cases which violate current law, and that was the new definition of predicate offenses. If a person violates law and if that act help him or her earn some money, then that is considered as illegitimate money, and that can go through the money laundering through the financial institution as well. I understand, all of you understand why we need to cut money laundering at the institution. And they did some crimes, and the criminal proceeds will come flowing into the financial institutions. They will trying to buy services and products offered by the banks and financial institutions. After they are doing the money laundering, they can fabricate it as their economic activities sometimes. And with that legitimate money can support terrorist attacks. We actually had the sirens going on in the early morning a couple of weeks ago. That was a warning sign against the North Korean kind of attack or the missile launch, so that the money laundered money can be flown into to support the illegitimate, the activities of the terrorist group. So the money can be related to the illegal activities of some terrorist group. So there is such kind of possibilities. So we have to work further to stop money laundering and to stop supporting the terrorist activities. Well, if I just talk about the terrorist activities and the proliferation, I just chill down the atmosphere here. Anyhow, now I'd like to show how we are working to prevent such kind of criminal behavior and criminal transactions. Regarding money laundering and the terroristic proceeds, we just set our logics first of all. So our principle is that there should be no money laundering. We should not be involved in the terrorist activities and proliferation. That is called as internal regulations. Once we have internal regulations, when we have customers, we just receive the deposit and help them to buy some insurances or they send some money for their service. And there are some requirements for us to do their job, and we define the requirements. And if they meet all the requirements, then at the back end, we will check if that money transaction is related to the terrorist activities and illegal activities. My point today is highly related to the process, because from the process perspective, data set has a lot of opportunity to be utilized. So if we have a detailed look at the process, if we have a customer, or when you are doing some KakaoBank services, on the screen you have checked that screen, you have to input your name, address, and occupation, and telephone numbers. All these things are the process of anti-money laundering. So whenever we have a customer, we have identified the customer. That's the first process. And when they are trying to have a foreign exchange transaction, then we do have a pre-screening to see if this money is related to the North Korea or Iran. So we see the relations between the money and some terrorist group or terrorist countries. And then I think some of you have personal experiences. When you are sending money for your children or people who are studying abroad, and the bank sometimes said that we have to suspend your money transaction for a while. That is related to this anti-money laundering or illegal money transaction preventive process. And for the people who will receive the money, should be checked whether they are suspicious or a dangerous person. The financial institution check that on a regular basis. So once the transaction deal done, then we collect all the deals to see if any of them is related to any suspicious terrorist supporting activities. That is called as a transaction monitoring process. Throughout the four-layered processes, we can detect any suspicious signals, and that will be reported to the government, and the government will review it and decide whether they're gonna have some additional investigation or not. So related to today's topic, the process that I explained and the data set should have some relationship. So as I mentioned earlier, we have the customer authorization and the transaction screening and name search, which are considered as a part of the process. All these processes occurred before certain activities. And these are for the certain target, and these processes are to see if the target is legal or suspicious. And we can check if that target is having some possibility to be engaged in illegal transaction or illegal activities. But another process that we need to check is the transaction monitoring. It's occurred after the transaction done, and after everything is done, we are analyzing if it has been involved in any terrorist activities or illegal transaction. So all the financial institutions under the local law should go through these transaction monitoring. So since we have some the monitoring analysis tool that can be developed based on the AI, let's look at that. So we may have some area where we can improve based on the AI. These are the annual report about our monitoring activities. The financial institutions are checking any suspicious activities, and if we believe that is suspicious, we report the case to the government, and we just survey how many cases we have made a report to the government. The quantity of the report and quantity of the cases are on the upward trend. And it was a little bit dropped due to the COVID-19 in the year of 2020. But in general, the trend is increasing. So based on that, we can see that money laundering or the illegal the detection system is well settled down here in Korea. However, the one thing we have to consider is that there are many services that the financial institutions are dealing with or selling are increasing. As the number of services that financial systems are providing is increasing. So if we just have the normal and the existing detection system, then we may not prevent all the activities that is using the newest technologies and the advanced technologies. Let me just take an example of a cryptocurrency. If you look at the structure of a cryptocurrency, one person cannot send or receive the money. So the cryptocurrency exchanges are doing the exchanges with the cryptocurrency. So to make an actual transaction, they have to link to and work together with other financial institutions. In the process, banks or some other financial institutions should have a pretty good understanding of the cryptocurrency, but it is limited. And maybe later on in the future, more the product and services will come out, let alone the cryptocurrency. Whenever we have new services and products, these financial flows and asset flows can happen that we cannot detect at our system level. And related to that, we also suffer from the shortages of anti-monitoring experts. The anti-money laundering experts are checking the laundry activities and prevent activities, but they cannot do all of that by themselves. As of today, anti-money laundering or the CTF, it's largely rule-based approach or the expert approach. These are the current system that we are having in Korea. That means they have the principles in written. When you are in this situation, you should do these kind of things. So there are clear rules, and the rules are executed and implemented by experts. So the experts should be capable to operate that kind of works. But that expert is human beings. So if the situation changing very rapidly or situation is very flexible, then they cannot sometimes make a immediate response to the event or the accidents. But if we are tapping on machine learning and AI, of course, it asks us to make a huge investment early because we have to have some system and equipment and algorithm. However, in the long-term perspective, it can enhance the operational efficiency and better respond to the ever-changing situation. And for the certain investigation of the government we can also see the possibility and efficiency of that unexpected investigation as well.
그래서 이런 그 금융기관에서 또는 이제 정부에서
So
탐지율이
at the governmental
낮다라고
level or
하기보다는
financial level, instead we are saying the detection rate is low, the detection is successful, but the case of detection, the total case of detection is increasing. So the limited number of experts cannot deal with every increasing cases timely. That is the problem. In addition, there is a difference between machine learning and deep learning. That's what I researched. In terms of machine learning, people should develop certain scenario and they can just to put that scenario with the machine languages. So let's say a customer deposit 5 million Korean won, and if that happened, then we can just choose the option A, not B. Then these are the algorithm-based the scenarios. So all the logics of human beings are having are translated into the machine languages. That's machine learning. And in terms of deep learning, it is having some part of the algorithm, but the machine itself can learn automatically. That is deep learning. Of course, machine learning and deep learning are under the big umbrella of AI, but it's kind of a long, old story. But 이세돌 the one against the DeepMind. If we consider the case, the machines with the intelligence that is competent to human beings, then if we are in short of a human expert, then AI technology can help us to resolve the increasing cases of money laundering and criminal financial crimes. Last but not least, this is my recommendations. In case of Korea, more than anything else, background is pretty good. In case of my bank, SC Banks, it has advanced into 60 different countries, including US, UK, Hong Kong, Singapore, China, and many others. To be honest with you, I personally believe that the financial technologies and operation system is one of the best in Korea. However, one difference is that our philosophy for anti-money laundering. Of course, compared to the US, UK, and advanced countries, they put priority on the money laundering, and they also advanced in the anti-money laundering. They started thinking about and taking measures against anti-money laundering earlier than us, so their operation is a little bit more sophisticated than us. But as of today, AI technology can help us to prevent anti-money laundering innovatively. And we are in the transitional era, and Korea is at the initial stage of starting that journey. And that is my conclusion. Thank you.